everybody, and welcome to another episode of Insufficient Friends. I'm tired. She's Stevie.
Hi.
And, it's been a long freaking day, Steve.
We are recording at not our typical time or day.
No,
which
it is.
Doesn't work out well for Kev.
It is 3:46 on a Wednesday.
And normally Kev tries to be asleep by what time?
3:30.
Right. So we're already about 15 minutes past that, and we just started the
And
podcast.
I also had a meeting last night at one of my jobs, so I've been up since 5 yesterday.
Oh my gosh.
So I've been
You've
up for,
almost been up. You
it's
will
22 hours and 45 minutes.
That's ridiculous. But
Yeah, it's a little tired in here.
it's really crazy.
But, you know, we'll power through this and you know.
And you don't drink coffee.
No.
Not a sip.
Not coffee. No. You're a big coffee fanatic, I know. I'm not.
I don't know about fanatic. I definitely love
like
a
your
good
coffee,
iced
though.
coffee.
Yeah.
I like it more though I've realized lately I like it more it's more for my mental health than waking up. I just like there's
Just like
something that makes me so
drinking the
happy,
coffee? Okay.
especially now that I'm working downtown. I'll go and I'll take like a little 5-minute walk to Starbucks or there's Lakota or whatever, get my coffee and just enjoy the morning. And that's more what it's for these days.
Okay.
But maybe when I'm older, I'll just be like black coffee just to stay awake.
Okay.
You never know.
How was your week? It's been hot lately, the last few days. It's been very warm.
Loved it.
Yeah.
Because it hasn't been I feel like it's not that hot.
No, I mean,
Like,
it's
we're
been,
not
it's
in
been
the
like in
muggy
the 80s. Yeah.
August stickiness
No.
yet that we will
It hasn't been terrible, but it's a little warm for me.
It's been beautiful. Yesterday, I was basking. I was laying out in the sun, just getting hot, and I think I was like a reptile in another life. It's really funny because my dad has turtles, and they like to bask.
Yeah.
And I think I bask.
That's part of the
And I
reptile
don't-
thing.
I probably should, but I don't feel the need to like get in the water. I don't cool down much.
Yeah, we talked about this last week.
Oh yes, I
yeah.
literally sit in
You
hot
like to sit in the
cars.
bake. Yeah,
Yeah.
you just like to
Yep.
basically bake.
Yep. And it's probably not great for me. And my technology can't keep up with me. Like my phone will stop working, my headphones they'll burn my ears, my water bottle's too hot. Like nothing around me can keep up with me. Everything gets way too hot and doesn't work anymore before I stop working.
Or you're done. Yeah.
Before I'm done in the sun. So, technology needs to get better in that department.
Okay, so we need to invent something that can stay cool.
Yeah.
When you're basking.
Yeah, you
in
think we'd be
100
there
degree heat.
by now, but not quite. But it was still very nice. I enjoyed my day. Week's been fine. It's a Wednesday, and so
Yeah, it's still only
we've
halfway
seen each
through the
other
week.
fairly
Yeah.
recently.
So how was the wedding was this last weekend?
Yes.
Right? How was it?
It was beautiful. It was
Good.
great. It was so exciting. We didn't get much sleep the night before, but like the next day was just such an adrenaline rush for all of us that it like didn't even matter.
Steve did not get married, by the way. Just,
No.
just-
I was not the bride. It was one of my best friends from high school, and she looked so gorgeous.
Good.
I really think they had the best day. I just keep looking back at our pictures because they both looked so amazing, and they really did it all themselves. It
Okay.
definitely gave me, like, if I ever get married, it was a good, like, oh, okay, you can do this, and it doesn't have to be, because they did some traditional things, some non-traditional things, and I liked all of it.
Okay.
It's just fun.
Yeah. So
But
you had fun.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
yeah, I will say, I noticed something about weddings because like my dad went and he didn't really know that many people, and it kind of like made me think if you were to get invited to a wedding to someone you're really really close with, but you don't have anyone to go with, and you are fairly certain you won't know a single person, do you go? 1, 2, do you go and like wait to be able to like say something to the bride and groom, just like say hi, are you avoiding it because you don't have anyone to go with? Are you going to sit there and, be on your phone in the corner? Or are you going to go, like, try to talk to someone? What does that look like for you?
I actually had this happen a few years ago.
Oh.
I will go and try to talk to the bridegroom, whoever.
Right.
I am very much one, though, that will sit on the side and not really do a whole lot. I
Yeah.
will talk to people that are around me, and I will have a conversation with people. But for the most part, I'm probably going to be over to the side,
Yeah.
especially if I don't know anybody.
Yeah. I feel like that's most people. It's really, I know about 2 people in this whole world that can just go up and talk to anybody, and one of them is my grandpa. And
Yeah, my
I
grandpa's that
think
way
it's
too.
kind of just like that's not something that's like phasing out in the world, probably because of technology, which is kind of sad, but whatever. I don't know many people that would choose to just have to like go up and talk to people. I can't really do that.
Hmm.
So I'd be in the same boat. But you don't, another thing I didn't realize, I wasn't the bride or the groom or whatever. I was just in the bridal party and I barely had time to go and like talk to people because we
You're always doing
do,
stuff. Yeah.
yeah, well, we do the ceremony. So we walk in, guests have arrived, and then our job as the bridal party, we called it like social hour. Everyone had to get out of the room we had the ceremony in because we had to set up for dinner. It was all in the same
Oh, okay.
room,
Hmm.
which could be avoided, but at this place it couldn't have been. And so bridal parties moving tables and setting up and for like an hour, and the bride and groom are taking pictures, like solo pictures, pictures with their family,
Hmm.
and everyone else is just outside. And yeah, if you came by yourself, like for instance, my dad, I eventually went to go talk to him, but I wasn't supposed to, like I was supposed to be working.
Yeah.
So that could be really, you're not seeing the bride and groom until like everything is done
Yeah.
almost with a wedding, which you would think is common sense, but I didn't realize that. I haven't been to many weddings as we discussed last time.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's pretty much you don't really talk to anybody until until like everything's over.
Right.
Like everything's
Especially if
over.
they're the bride or the
Yeah.
groom.
Yeah. So, yeah, that doesn't I mean, I've been in that situation before. Like that doesn't surprise me very much. But I yeah, I'm no, I'm definitely the one to be over in the corner. And I've like if I had to leave
Yeah.
and like go do just stand outside or something
Mhm.
for an hour while we waited for something. Yeah, that's going to be very I'm going to be sitting on like a bench by myself just
Yeah.
probably looking at my phone that whole time.
Yeah. I mean, I
I'm going to hope
probably
there's
would
somebody
too.
else there that I know, like
Right. That's the goal.
somebody.
Or you can bring someone
Yeah,
or whatever.
which is always
Maybe.
a possibility,
Yeah.
but
I think I would too. Or like what about like we have our like a lot of people do like work holiday parties, stuff like that. If no one that you are like super close with that you know is going, but you might know a couple people there, are you still going to go and just walk in by yourself and
yeah.
hope that you
Oh,
see
I'll do that.
someone?
Yeah. I'll usually
Okay.
go. Especially if it's a big work gathering, but usually I'm very much a get along with everybody type of person.
Sure.
Um, it's been that way since school, like high school.
Mhm.
So it doesn't. I know everybody pretty much that I work with. As long as I've met them, then I can talk to them. It's not a problem.
Hmm.
Um, but
Interesting.
I am not a get up and party type person. I'll just
No,
sit
no,
around and
no.
have a conversation with them. And there's some people that are more likely to have a conversation with than others because I have more in common with them. But yeah, for the most part, I'll still go though and still talk to people. Usually, I end up talking with like the same few people every time I go to one of
Right.
those events though. So
Right. But so like but if you didn't know for a fact someone you knew would be there, you'd still go and just see.
yeah.
Okay. See, I don't think I could do that. Well, I mean, I could. I don't think I would want to.
Hmm.
Cuz yeah, of course I know other people, but if they're there with their like little group of work friends and or their spouse or partner or whatever, they brought someone who knows, then am I just this random person that's like joining the group? That just feels that's something I can't bring myself to do that.
Oh,
Cuz
I
then it's like
mean,
what are the odds that someone else showed up by themselves that I am like close enough with to have a conversation with? That I
yeah, but
I just feel like that's not going to happen for me.
I guess that's the difference is I don't have a problem just joining the group and
Yeah, that is
talking
the
in that
difference.
situation because I already know them. Now I'm not going to just walk up to a random group of people and start talking to them. But if I know who they are, or I know
Mhm.
them. Most of them I've talked to at some point.
Right.
Um, so I don't have a problem walking up and talking to people that I've met.
Mhm.
So yeah, I no.
Okay, new scenario.
Okay.
If you are in a public, you're doing your grocery shopping
Mm-hmm.
and like you are at Walmart and you see someone that you know knows you. You've literally had conversations with them, but you just haven't seen them in a while, but you're like, I know they work at the same like place as me. Are you going to like just see what happens? Maybe they'll see me or maybe they'll, or are you trying to avoid them or are you going out of your way to be like, "Hey, how are you?" Like it's someone that has like worked with you once maybe, but it's been like a year, and that was the last time you spoke to them.
I'll probably just say hi as I walk by.
Yeah.
I'm not going to avoid them. I'm
Yeah.
not going to go out of my way to try to talk to them, but I'll probably say hi as I walk by them.
You're right in the middle.
Yeah.
You're just like, whatever happens,
Yep.
happens.
And I do that a lot of times with even people that I know pretty well, more than likely. Because if I'm at a place, I'm trying to get things done.
Right.
And they are too, and
Right.
I understand that. So it's not usually something that's, something where it's not a conversation time. It's a time to get things done.
Honestly, same. And it's always just, and the audience knows this at this point, I have a little bit of social anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
It could be literally one of my best friends, but if it's just not a planned interaction and you're kind of just like, oh, there goes my friend. Hey, what's up? Oh, I'm just at the store. Me too. Okay. Cool. Like, what? Okay. Like, do you go into conversation? Do you just respect that everyone's like trying to do their stuff and get out of there? Because then and then immediately, as soon as the conversation's over, I'm like, God, I'm such an idiot. Why'd I say this? Why didn't I ask about this? So that is, I stand more towards not making, like, I'm gonna try to avoid them, not because I don't want to see them or talk to them, but in that moment, I just genuinely don't know what to say, and I don't want to say anything dumb.
I get that. I'm not. I will just kind of say hi for the most part. There's not really a whole lot I'm going to go into.
Mm-hmm. I
so,
also,
yeah.
if it's in the situation where it's someone that like they probably recognize me, like we've definitely had a few conversations, I'm going to err on the side of like they probably don't recognize me, and I don't know why. That's something I've always thought. Like, even in elementary school, if I would see people, like, I play with at school, something about seeing them, like, at the store was like, oh, they don't recognize me. But even though I recognize them immediately, I just always was like, people don't remember who I am. And maybe that happened to me. I really don't remember if, like, as a kid, I just had, because I had a really good memory as a kid, and I would actually remember people from, like, preschool up until I was in like middle school. Like, we went to preschool together, and they were like, how do you remember that? So maybe that just happened so many times that I was like, oh, I shouldn't assume people remember me the way I remembered them. I don't know. Has that ever happened to you?
No. I think I am probably more likely one of the ones that forgets. Like,
you're the forgetter.
Sometimes sometimes if somebody says that, I might have a vague memory, or I see somebody that I'm like, I think I know them from somewhere, but I'm not really sure. But I've never really had this situation where I go up to somebody, because if I know somebody, even if I'm sure I know them, I'm not going to go up and say anything to them. It doesn't matter how sure I pretty much am, unless if I haven't seen them in a while, let's put it that way.
Yeah.
If I, see them on a regular basis, that's one thing. But if it's somebody that like if I hadn't seen you in 5 years and I saw you at Walmart and I was 1,000% sure it was you, I don't know that I'd walk up to you. Because
God,
if I haven't seen or talked to you in 5 years,
what do you say?
What am I going to walk up to you and say?
Especially like at the grocery store, like we don't have time to go, because at that point you're like, oh my God, I miss you, I want to see you, but I don't have time to get into all of that's happened in the last 5 years here in Walmart.
Yeah.
So yeah, that makes sense. You would almost be like, oh, I'd almost rather not say anything and start that conversation. Instead, I'd rather, like, if I want to talk to them, let me find a time to talk to them that's not this interaction.
I get that. Yeah.
Now.
No.
Something very funny about this is that you get a few drinks in me. I could see someone that I think I've probably never even met in person, but maybe I've seen them on a friend's Instagram, and I will go up to them like they're my best friend and be like, "Oh my God, how are you? How's your dad? How's your dog? Oh, what you're in this school? You're doing this? I know everything about you." Like, I'm crazy and I'm a stalker, and I'm probably 1,000% more outgoing after like one margarita.
I am not surprised at all.
Which you probably don't
I am not
change much because we're not the same in that.
No. First of all, I'm not a big drinker. So that's one thing. Two, the only couple times that I've ever been drunk in my life, it didn't really, from what I could understand and from what I've been told, it didn't really change much on my personality. I was just a little more talkative, which is I'm already talkative. So
Yeah.
obviously we're doing a podcast. We talk for however long. So
Right.
that was about it. Maybe a little more giggly, probably a little more laughing.
Yeah.
Which is,
That's
again,
normal. That's what happens to everyone.
but I'm not big into that. That's not a thing that normally happens. So
Yeah. There's just something, I just turn into like a kid. That's truly, actually, if I had to describe it, I think I just turn into a kid. And I just am like, I just like want to play. Like I'm just at school on the playground, like, okay, who wants to play now? I often tell 'em-
until you fall asleep somewhere random.
right. And then, let's hope that nobody wants to play after that. Let's hope I'm being taken home after that.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. That's an interesting, yeah.
But yeah, being at a wedding, because I saw like a few people, like, they didn't come with anyone, or they came with like their kids who are very little, who are just playing, and they just kind of have to like, but they don't,
Yeah.
they're not, and that just made me think, like, I don't know if I could. That's honestly that's brave to just show up without like a date to an event, or at least like a friend, or like, oh, I know for a fact someone who's going to be like sitting with me,
Yeah. I think it depends. Like a wedding, especially if I don't know anybody, I'm going to want to try to take somebody that I can talk to just
Yeah.
because if I don't know if I'm going to know anybody, that's going to be really awkward if I'm there for like 4 hours and don't have anybody to talk to.
Right.
So I'm going to try to find somebody, but for like a work event or something, I know enough people, it's not going to bother me. Like I can just walk in and
That's a
and
good
have no
point.
problem.
That's very different than a wedding. Like if
Yeah.
if you're going to a wedding, you're not in the family of one of them, you're more than likely like going to know one person there.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. One or two. And a work thing is like you'll probably know 50%
Most of them,
the
yeah.
people there.
Exactly.
So I get that.
So what else has been going on, Steve?
Nothing like really crazy that I can think about. There was people at the wedding whom probably were a bit overserved who were asking me when I wanted to get married. And I was like, that I have no idea.
Did you catch the bouquet?
They didn't even do that.
Oh, they don't do that?
No, I didn't even think about that. We didn't do that. It was very sweet that first of all, this is like a hot take probably, but I think if I were to have a wedding, I wouldn't do bridal parties. Like I
Okay.
wouldn't do a bachelorette, bachelor. There would be no groomsmen, best man, maid of honor.
It'd just be the
anything
two
like
of
that.
you?
I think so.
Okay.
I've always had like, and it was for many years I've thought this, single, dating, whatever. I've always just felt like I would want the ceremony to just be, honestly, I want it to be quick, and I would want it to be very intimate, and then like a big reception, which I think is more like that's trending these days,
Yeah.
especially after COVID. People were like, well, we can get married literally anytime, anywhere. It's the reception that we need to like put the planning into
Yeah.
and the money and the people into.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just think that's like, you have to pick your like favorite friends. And then sometimes, I'm not saying this has happened to anyone I know, but sometimes I've heard stories that like, okay, well, because the groom has a sibling that needs to be involved, so you put him in your party or vice versa. And it's like, well, this is my wedding. I shouldn't have to worry about other people's feelings and making, and if the person I marry wants groomsmen, then that's a conversation for later. But I just don't think it's that. I don't know. I think I would skip that.
Yeah. Not having anybody in it for sure makes it to where you don't. I mean, if you hurt feelings, it's like, well, I'm going to hurt everybody's because there's nobody in
and
it.
you still get to come.
Yeah.
Like, you still get to party and have a good time.
Yeah.
But you get to skip all the boring stuff and save money.
Yeah, I don't know how much you're actually going to save. Like, are you talking
They
about the
would.
bride and groom? Oh, they would.
As in, like, you
Because
don't
they're
have
not
to
paying for
buy
the-
any dresses or suits. You don't have to come on a trip that
Yeah.
you are basically being forced to go on. Not once again, this is not an experience I have experienced or felt. I've just heard horror stories. The bachelorette party I went to was very chill and nice, and we did not spend that much money. Even if we did, I wouldn't have cared. But I just don't. I know it can get to a point where it just gets uncomfortable, and I'm such a people pleaser that it would stress me out having so many other people involved in that when I could just be like, reception, everyone I love in this room, that's all I need.
Yeah.
Great, done. You guys can all party. I'll buy you all your dinner, and you get to drink and for free and have this great fun night with us. But I don't need to make this like months of planning with you guys and planning these trips and buying dresses and suits and stuff. Like we can probably skip that. What about?
I can agree. I can understand that. I can
Yeah.
agree with that. I'm very much a if and when I ever get married, I have a feeling it's going to be a go with the flow. Whatever you say.
Whatever they want.
Whatever you say.
Whatever
dear.
they
Whatever
want.
you say. I don't care.
Honestly, that's that's the best way to possibly be ever.
Yeah. Like I'll help with whatever I need to help with.
Mm-hmm.
Don't want to have any. If somebody asks me a question, I'll answer the question.
Right.
But for the most part, it's going to be whatever you want. Whatever you want.
So you don't have, and this is probably normal for most men, but you don't have anything that's like a traditional thing that you either know you want or don't want.
Nope, don't care.
You're just like whatever.
I could get married in a courthouse. Don't really care.
Yeah.
Doesn't bother me any way, shape, form. Don't care.
Don't care who's there.
Nope.
Respect.
Yeah, I don't care at all. Doesn't bother me either way.
I mean, that's the best way to be, truly.
Yeah.
What do you think about? What's your take on like the amount of money that people spend on weddings?
It's way too much. Way too much.
Isn't it crazy?
Yeah. And it's also not even just how much people spend, it's how much they're gouged for it seems like.
Oh no, it's against their will they're spending this money. They have no choice.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying is like
Yeah.
places just you say wedding and the price jumps like 500%.
1,000%. Exactly. It's not like you are getting so many cool, like you're not getting the most expensive food, drinks, and decorations that it's costing so much. It's just because it's a wedding. It's at least 20 grand or whatever it is these days. I don't even know.
It's in the 30s. Average wedding is in the 30s, I think.
But so how do you avoid that? You get married at a courthouse. Can you just say, "Oh, I'm having a big party"? Or like if you say, "Oh, I'm having a reception," people are like, "Great, 30 grand." For this
I don't know.
center or whatever.
I would say if you say you're having a party. I remember I feel like I watched a investigative thing on this at one point where they kind of did that, and it was more expensive when they used the word wedding versus like if they did the same thing and didn't say wedding, it was cheaper.
Gotcha.
But it's been a while since I've remember seeing that, so I'm not exactly sure. But yeah, I would say just. I think getting married at courthouse, the less ceremony, the less things you have to do, the cheaper it's going to be, of course.
Sure.
But I think the reception is still the more pricey thing because that's where your booze is, that's where your food is, that's where your rental space is.
For sure.
Like, most people get married at a church. It doesn't really cost anything. I don't know if it really costs that much to rent out a church. Like, I guess if you get married at an event space, then that's going to cost you, but you're already paying for it anyway if you're going to have the reception there. So, I guess you'd have to pay for more for time, but I don't.
Yeah,
I don't
it's like
really
you'd
know.
almost have to, like, lie. Be like, this is a retirement party. That's why all my family is coming. Or like a reunion.
Party.
It's
a
family reunion
party
and
for a bunch of people in their 20s.
Or okay, you're right. It's like a reunion for my whole family, and I might be wearing a white dress. You just have to. Yeah, that's very interesting.
And my guy friend might be wearing a tux.
My guy friend, yeah, and you also. I guess I didn't realize.
Or girlfriend, whichever one.
Yeah, you're also paying for. Do you think is a photographer going to be more for a wedding than just for like
I'm sure
senior
it is.
pictures? You
I'm
think
sure
they're
it is.
racking up the price for that too?
Oh, I know they're racking up the price for senior pictures too.
But like still it's yeah, photographers are expensive. A nice photographer is expensive. I think it's worth it personally. Just depends on who you are and what you're doing. But you don't think they're like, "Oh, my package for like graduation pictures is $250, but a wedding is $1,000."
I was talking to a guy the other day who said that his friend got married and had a videographer. So they had a photographer and a videographer.
I don't think I want that.
The videographer, 9-minute video cost them $10,000. And
Yeah,
I
why?
don't understand that. And he may I hope he was exaggerating for this person's sake. But
Me
he didn't
too.
seem like he was. And I mean, because I've seen the wedding videos that are like, it's like a montage of your wedding. It's like 10 or 15 minutes. I've
Yeah.
seen those. Now, my aunt and uncle, the only other wedding video that I remember is my aunt and uncle's. I don't remember seeing my parents. I don't know if, I'm sure, I think they had one because I think my aunt did it. But my aunt and uncle's, it was basically the whole wedding was recorded.
Yeah.
So, it's like a hour something long video because there's the wedding, actual wedding, and then there's stuff from the reception. But then the other ones that I've seen recently, it's like everything compiled into one that's got it's like 8 to 10 minutes, and it's just a montage with songs in the background.
$10,000.
Yeah, I really hope that was wrong. I really hope that was an embellishment.
iMovie is like $6.99 on your iPhone or laptop. Download it and make your own montage. I promise.
I mean, you're probably not going to get as good with that, but I understand what you're saying. Yes.
But for $10,000, if you just have some, like, I get it. You need someone there that has a good camera that can take pictures. You need. That's for pictures, for videos, or whatever. But if you just send it to me, I never got people, like photographers. I've had pictures taken. They take so many pictures. They pick the ones to edit and send you. I want all of them.
You can usually buy all of them. I know I bought all of my senior photos.
But they're editing them. Like, is it cheaper just to send them to me? I'll edit them.
But a lot of people want the stylized photo. And I mean, when I did senior photos, it was a little more difficult to do the do the stylization. Nowadays, with your iPhone, you can click a button and it does it for you.
That's what I'm saying.
But there's still a difference in the stylization of your iPhone doing it versus usually what like a professional photographer does.
Yeah. And I don't really know how to do brightness and shadows and effect things and colors on a photo.
And the other thing too that I will give photographers that you need one for is they know how to set up a shot and make it look good.
That's true. They tell
Whereas,
you exactly what to do.
Just you standing somewhere and doing a picture, it might look good sometimes. It might not look good. But a photographer is there to know how to do that. A good photographer is there to know how to do that. Know how to make everything look good when you're doing it.
That's true. And they're efficient. They're like, okay, go over here and you're going to do this and turn just a little bit. Like, they know exactly. Yeah, you're right. You're right. That's a good point. That's still $10,000 for a 9-minute video. I don't think I could think I could sleep at night. I don't think I could live with myself.
No.
But speaking of videos,
I watched the movie.
Did you watch the movie? I did.
Okay.
What
did you think?
Well, I watch it? I sat in the living room while it was on.
Okay.
It did not keep my attention, and I tried.
Okay.
And I can tell you my favorite part.
What?
But that's about it. I didn't care for it other than
what hold on. Spoiler
alert. We're talking about Indiana Jones and the Lost Ark. Probably for the next 5 minutes.
Okay. So if you don't want to hear a spoiler, turn off. I mean, this movie's from a long time ago.
I'm never gonna feel bad, by the way, if we do spoil any of these for you.
Okay, so let's start off with this because I loved it.
Okay.
I've seen it a dozen times and I love it every time. What was it that lost your interest? Like, why isn't it able to keep your interest?
It sounds like it would be exciting, but to me, any type of elongated adventure is it's predictable and it's boring.
Okay.
You're going to run into a couple bad guys. You're going to have to beat them off. You are going to have to, face probably one guy against a bunch of guys at some point. There's that. There's the running from the stuff. It's predictable. I think it's predictable. And I get bored, and I don't find action entertaining.
Stand that.
The love interest also wasn't that exciting for me.
I'm going to be a little bit defensive.
That's fine.
and say that you could kind of knock down most movie genres to that same idea. Like you could say, well, a comedy
Yeah.
movie's this, and this.
Oh no, all movies have like a
Yeah.
script that's predictable, but to me, adventure and action is the
adventure
least
is the least.
interesting.
Okay. Okay. So what did you like about it?
My favorite part, well, I liked the first, when we first get introduced to love interest, she's taking the shots and with that guy, and it's like,
She drinks them under
she's
a
a
table.
boss,
Yeah.
and it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That part I liked. And then the part where, I don't know why, I thought this was funny, but there's like a scene closer to like the middle of the movie. It's like a real Western setup, and he's like about to go head to head with this guy, and I think he's got a sword, and he does all these cool tricks, like they're about to have a
he
full
just
on
shoots
fight
him?
scene, and he just
Yeah.
shoots him, and it's over. And I'm like, if every single fight scene was like that, I'd probably like action movies a lot more.
Okay.
I thought that was
Yeah.
genius.
Because you've got the guy that's like juggling the sword almost,
and
and Harrison Ford Indiana Jones just shoots him.
And I didn't think it was meant to be like, it's not meant to be a funny movie. That was hilarious to me. I was like,
it's meant to have comic
genius.
parts, just like just
sure,
like all of them.
sure. Yeah, that was
But-
genius to me.
Yeah.
But the rest of it, it didn't keep my
didn't get you.
attention. It's
Okay.
played out. And maybe other movies copied that one. I just don't know, and quite frankly, I don't care.
Yeah, I know.
I'm sorry. I sound so pessimistic, but that is not my type of movie, and I'm sure one of these days we'll watch a movie that's not your type of movie. Sunset Boulevard might not have been your type of movie. That's a movie I like loved that movie. I was like,
See,
my
but
eyes were glued.
There's very few movies that I don't enjoy. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I'm not one that's super critical of movies. Like there's ones that I like more than others, but I'm not super overly critical of most movies.
That's a good point.
I'm very much, did I get enjoyment out of
Yeah.
it while I was watching it? And one of the things that we talked about this with Sunset Boulevard a little bit, was one of the things that I can note by how into the movie I am is how many times do I look at my watch or check and see how much time is left in the movie.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter how I watch Indiana Jones. Now I partly know where it's at in the movie, but I don't ever check the time on it. It's just I just enjoy.
Yeah.
I love it. It's great.
Right. I don't know. I think it's a little bit of the attention thing. Because even with Sunset Boulevard, I remember being like, because that was like a 2-hour movie, and I was like, I'd watch it, and then 30 minutes go by, and be like, oh, let me pause this because I need to do something else. My brain doesn't. I don't just sit and watch movies very often, so that can be challenging for me. There's also always, I always have something about when someone tells me to watch something. It's like reading a book at school versus reading one on your own. It's so much more of a chore if someone said you have to watch this movie than like, oh, I'm just bored and I feel like watching a movie, so I pick a movie.
Okay.
Does that not make sense? Like when someone
I
tells you to do it, it's more of a chore than if you just decide to do it.
I get it. I get it, but I don't know. I guess I enjoy movies, so I don't have a problem watching something if somebody likes it enough to recommend it to me, then I'll watch it for the most part, and
Yeah.
I'll probably enjoy it.
Well, I'm trying. We've made it this far.
two movies.
Yeah. No, I watched
which you
3.
wanted. What was the
The first one. What'd you tell me to watch first? It's Doctor Strangelove.
Oh yeah, that's right, Doctor Strangelove.
Yeah. Now one of them
You
was
didn't care
more
for that
my
one.
suggestion,
Yeah.
which was Sunset Boulevard, which has been the only one I've talked nicely about. But
Yeah, but you said you kind of wanted to see Doctor Strangelove anyways, like you
Yeah,
thought it was
I was glad
intriguing or whatever. But
and both of them were on the AFI, right?
Yeah.
So I needed to watch them anyway. That's my goal. I do truly want to watch every movie that's on the AFI list.
well, we've gone down 3.
Right. So we're doing pretty good.
We got a ways to go still.
And
So
this week we're watching one of my suggestions. Sorry.
oh,
But I know you'll like it, and you might have already seen it, but I know you'll like it.
okay, what is it?
Goodfellas.
Okay, I'm pretty sure I've seen it. It's
You
been
gotta
a long
rewatch it.
time, so I'm not sure entirely. But yeah, that's fine.
It's one of those movies that just makes me feel like home. I'm just kidding.
I mean, I love Indiana Jones though.
Yeah.
Like I'm the last one several years ago that came out was meh, and I hope that this new one is good. But
Yeah.
I mean, Harrison Ford is 80 years old, so it's kind of an 80-year-old action star is getting up.
We'll
there,
see.
but you know.
Yeah. But I think you should watch Goodfellas. I would encourage all of
I
our
will.
listeners to watch Goodfellas.
Yeah, I will.
But
It's just, yeah, I will, because I usually watch at least a couple movies every week, it seems like, because just the timing of things. So,
and this time you have more. I don't even know when the next time we record's going to be. We'll have to figure that out.
Yeah. I kind of want to go see, Guardians of the Galaxy is in theaters right now, and I kind of want to go see that.
I've liked those movies. I think I've definitely seen the one where they sing Come and Get Your Love, which is that the first one?
That's the first one, but I
definitely seen that one. Second one, I feel like I've either started it or watched part of it somewhere, but I don't think I've seen it all the way through. But I like those are pretty good for what they are in my head. Like their action, their superhero movies, any Marvel movie is like 50-50 with me, but Guardians of the Galaxy has been okay.
I'm not a big Marvel fan either.
Yeah.
The ones that I tend to like are the stupid comedy ones, which is kind of like Guardians of the Galaxy, which is kind of like a lot of humor-based
it's
stuff.
like dumb.
And Deadpool, which is just ridiculously over the top.
Yeah.
But I also love Ryan Reynolds, so you know that.
Oh yeah, who doesn't? Literally America's sweetheart.
So, yeah, well, I guess that's probably
that's all I got
for this week. So, guys, happy Memorial Day.
Ooh, yeah.
Weekend, unofficial start to summer. So happy Memorial Day. Be safe.
Bask in the sun.
I'm a lizard, I'm Steve, and we'll talk to you next week.
Bye.